Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably going to be one of my most controversial videos, but here it is. Iran did nothing wrong. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Iran did nothing wrong.
Oh my gosh! He's defending a regime that throws gay people off of buildings and oppresses women.
Well, yeah, nobody's perfect. I don't claim that Iran is perfectly good. And I don't even claim that Iran is good. But in terms of the recent crisis that we have experienced with Iran, where we almost got our asses into World War III, Iran did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Now let me explain. How did this shit start? This started because Iran allegedly attacked a U.S. embassy in Baghdad. This is how this whole thing started. But guess what, dear viewer? It wasn't Iran that attacked the embassy. It was militias, proxies of Iran. That's something completely different from Iran. Think about it like this. The U.S. government funded the Mujahideen in Afghanistan so that they would fight against the Soviet Union. Is that an act of war against the Soviets? No. Is it hurting the Soviets? Yes. By doing this, the U.S. was sort of indirectly screwing with the Soviets, because the Soviet Union was a geopolitical enemy of the United States. It's the same thing with this attack on Baghdad. Iran did not attack the United States. And let me repeat myself. Iran did not attack the United States. What Iran did do was provide funding for people that did attack the United States. Providing funding for people that attack the United States is not an act of war. It's screwing with the United States, but it's not an act of war. If you consider that to be an act of war, then the U.S. funding the Mujahideen should have been considered an act of war. Now, some people would say that it's a bad thing for the Iranian government to fund militia groups that attack Iran, but think about it like this. Why does the U.S. do? The U.S. does the exact same frickin' thing. The U.S. funded the Mujahideen during the Afghan Civil War, so why do you people hold America to one moral standard but hold Iran to another moral standard? It doesn't make sense. If America can get away with doing something, there's no reason why Iran shouldn't be able to get away with it too. So, Iran did not attack the United States. Iran simply funded proxy groups that were anti-American that did attack the United States. Now here's where it gets tricky. I emphasized that before, that it was the proxies that attacked the United States, not Iran. Iran did not attack the United States. Iran didn't do nothing except for providing funding. Trump then blamed Iran and said that Iran's funding was an act of war, which is, again, not true. If that were true, then the U.S. shouldn't have funded the Mujahideen. So Trump blames Iran for the attack on the U.S. embassy rather than the proxies that actually attacked the embassy. And then decides to launch a drone strike on General Soleimani. Soleimani allegedly was planning more quote-unquote terrorist attacks against the United States. and was allegedly the leader of this militia group that attacked the United States. But here's the problem. Number one, the militia group was led by an entirely different individual, not Soleimani. Secondly, Soleimani was only providing funding for the militias. And, more importantly, there's no evidence that this person was, in any way, shape, or form, a threat to the United States beyond just providing funding for the pro-Iranian groups. You know, people claim that Soleimani was this evil monster who was going to kill innocent Americans and already had killed innocent Americans, but there's no evidence of this. That's the problem. There's no evidence that he killed innocent civilians or that he was planning more terrorist attacks. The only evidence that we have that Soleimani was doing anything beyond funding the militia groups is the word of the media and the word of the government, which, as we know, is run by the deep state. The same deep state that has lied to us in the past. I mean, do you really trust the U.S. government to tell you the truth? Seriously, do you trust the U.S. government to tell you the truth? No, I didn't think so. Do you trust the media to tell you the truth? No, you shouldn't. These people lied to us in the past, and they're most likely lying to us now. Has anyone seen any credible evidence that Soleimani was as bad as Trump and the media says he is, beyond just the word of Trump? No. No, we haven't. In fact, the U.S. actually used to fund Soleimani when we were at war with ISIS. So yeah, the U.S. killed an Iranian head of state, or someone that was very influential with the Iranian government, based on things that are most likely not even true, and based on an attack that wasn't even done by Iran. Oh, and secondly, if Soleimani was as bad as people claim he was, how come we didn't know about him until his death? Like, prior to, I mean, seriously, like, nobody knew about, nobody in the United States, nobody outside of the Middle East had ever heard of this guy, Soleimani, until the drone strike. If he was as bad as people say he was, we would have known about him sooner. We would have been warned about him sooner. I'm sorry, the official story just does not add up. So, in summary, we killed an Iranian general based on things that most likely are not true, and based on a terrorist attack that Iran wasn't even responsible for. Wasn't even responsible for. So what happens afterward? Iran says that there's going to be a retaliation, and there's a lot of hootering, hollering, and what happens? Iran launches a couple of missiles and purposefully calculates the attack so that the missiles wouldn't kill anybody. And then after that is like, okay, the retaliation's over. When Iran fired those missiles, they were actually giving a gift to us, to the Americans, because it was a deliberately weak retaliation. Iran clearly wanted to get out of this. Iran clearly wanted to de-escalate. And then, well, Trump today, he gave a speech and he de-escalated as well. The Iranians gave us a way out and we took it, but all of the escalation happened because of Trump, not because of Iran. Iran, in this situation, didn't do nothing. Iran did nothing wrong. Oh, and I know that there's going to be, before I end this video, I know that there's going to be some people that are going to be like, oh, but what about the drone strikes? What about the attacks on the oil fields? Yeah, but those were completely different incidents. We're talking about this incident that almost got us into a war. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video or agreed with anything that I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Wolf signing out.